I really experienced myself every time I wanted to ask you about him, and because he got killed from the Americans. Maybe you heard about this. No.
But go on, please.
I want to ask you about Osho. There is a spirit around me who stops it. It's quite amazing for me to watch. And I have to really make that effort.
So what's the spirit who is around you that stops the asking?
Yeah.
What are they feeling?
Yeah. I feel my heart is beating. And
so what's the feeling you have?
I like to ask him what sphere he is, but maybe you don't know.
But can I ask you what your feeling is? Can you identify that feeling? What is that?
The other feeling I shouldn't ask.
Why? Why shouldn't you ask?
Because in that community, there was a lot of beautiful things happening, like meditation and self-realization and therapy, but there was a lot of sexual activities.
Right. And can you see why the spirit doesn't want you to ask?
Yeah.
Because the spirit doesn't want you to know the truth of what was going on.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the spirit want you to know what the truth is?
Yeah. Maybe because I don't want to know it.
Because the spirit was involved in the sexual activity.
Yeah.
And if I say the truth to you and it gets known what was going on, then all of the people may no longer do the sexual activity that they were doing, and then all of the spirits who are invested in that sexual activity, where will they be?
Yeah, it's
frustrated. Sexually, they will be frustrated. Can you ask through a mic? Always through the mic, sorry. We can play the two.
Sorry, I was just saying, are you implying that there's something wrong with that sexual activity?
No, I'm not implying there's something wrong with sexual activity. What I'm implying is that there's something wrong with sexual activity that you're not consenting to and knowing what you're consenting to.
Are you saying in this case?
Yes, this case, the people involved in the sexual activity have no idea that actually the spirits are influencing them to have sex with each other, so the spirits can actually enjoy the sexual activity.
With respect, isn't that an assumption on your part, though?
No, it's not. But you can feel it is.
But it's just a statement.
No, it's not. Like, I know what's going on.
Oh, okay.
I can feel through the spirit why the spirit doesn't want to ask her.
I feel it very strongly.
You can feel that, right?
It was just for me.
And how does the spirit feel about you knowing this now?
It's feeling I know it's the truth.
Yep. So the spirit knows it's the truth.
And
but how does he feel?
Oh, he doesn't like it.
Okay. Why doesn't he like it?
Stand it.
Why doesn't he want you to know it?
Because I've been involved in it.
Yes. You're one of the people who were chosen to be involved in it through some emotional injuries. Yes. And see, what happens is the spirits, and if I talk, like, when I answer a question, by the way, I'm answering it based on what I know. If I don't know, I will actually tell you I don't know. All right? What's happening is, around every person, remember, is a group of spirits. So here is the physical dimension. So this is the physical dimension. Here is the spirit dimension. Now, these spirits are all in the first sphere of the spirit dimension. You follow me? They're all in the lower regions of the first sphere of the spirit dimension. What you would classify as the hells, or you would have heard of as the hells. It's not a fiery torment place. It's not a place of, like Dante's Inferno. It's not like that at all. What it is a place where people have yet to heal their unloving emotions. And their condition reflects the emotion, and the location where they live reflects the emotion. So there are actually terrible, terrible places in the spirit world. Some of you have seen the movie What Dreams May Come?
Just
in the depths, remember he goes into hell to get his wife out of hell from the suicide, and he passes through many different illustrative pictures of the hell, and to be frank, there are places that look exactly like are depicted in that movie. Now, these spirits are in the very low regions of this first sphere, and they do not want you to change. They do not want you to change because they are living vicariously through you in order to get some of their unhealed emotions satisfied. One of the largest unhealed emotions on this planet are emotions involving sexuality, right? Where we have a lot of confusion, a lot of shame, a lot of all these kind of things. Or we have a lot of the opposite type of emotions, where we're highly sexual, we don't care who it's with, or anything like that. We're just highly sexual all the time, and that is another emotional injury. Now, what a person does in the spirit world, and you'll see this happening a lot on earth, where people are attracted to spirituality, but often finish up being involved in sexual activities, right? Now, while certainly part of your soul progression is going to be about healing your sexual injuries, and certainly God designed you to have sexual activity, God also designed a whole group of laws of love surrounding it. And whenever you break those laws of love, certain things will occur. Now, one of the things that occur on earth is that in the guise of spirituality, sexuality gets expressed. And when I say in the guise, it's often said, love means free love, means loving everyone, and that means having sex with everyone. And so what we finish up doing is having sex with everyone because we're all freely loving each other. That's not what God designed. Now, you don't have to trust me. You can just find it out for yourself by doing the opposite and see where it takes you, and see where it fulfills you, and see whether you feel loved from it all. And you will soon find out that it actually isn't a loving space. But what's happening is these groups of spirits are here in the spirit world. Lots and lots of them, all with unresolved sexual issues. There are many men, by the way, in the spirit world who were sexual predators here on earth and remain sexual predators in the first sphere of the spirit world. And what they do is they connect with women, and what is one thing women are generally attracted to? Spirituality. Agreed? You go to an audience where, like here it's a mixed audience, but generally when you go to an audience where there's spiritual things being presented, 80% of the people are women generally, right? So a lot of women get attracted to it. And then they're taught, often by a man, by the way, that this free love idea and free sex idea and so forth. And what's going on is that these spirits in very low conditions are using that to influence you in order so that they can vicariously experience the sexual act through you. That's what they're doing. By the way, alcoholic spirits do exactly the same thing. So people who are alcoholics on earth, who love their drink when they're on earth, pass in the spirit world. There's no drink there. So what do? They just connect to a person on earth who's a drinker, and they drink and drink and drink. And this is why the person can be totally oblivious to everything going on inside of themselves. They don't even know where they are, what they're doing or anything. They can't even remember last night. And yet when they ask a friend, yeah, you were still upright, still plugging away there, mate, you know. And the reason why is because the Spirit was just keeping them pouring down the Spirit. Like two different types of Spirit, but no, the Spirit was just helping them. Now, most spirits in a first sphere condition do not want you to know this and would rather that you never found out about it. And can you understand why? Because they have a vested interest in you continuing to do it. They have a vested interest in it. So many of us in our life have had these experiences where we weren't conscious of what we were doing. A lot of times it's with alcohol or with drugs, but oftentimes it's also with sex and other experiences. And most of the time it's because of the heavy influence of spirits in a very, very poor state. How do you disconnect from them? The same way you progress. By actually loving yourself, working your way through the injuries you have about love, and as that happens, you work your way through the injuries you have about sex, and as that happens, these spirits feel, I can't connect with her anymore. I'll go and find somebody else who I can influence into doing this with. And they often do, because there is a large variety of people who have these injuries on earth. Now, you will find that there are many sexual predators in so-called spiritual circles. And the reason why is because these spirits, because of the other practices, you know, the practices of meditation and other practices, find it easier to connect to the person when they're doing those practices. Right? And because the actual soul condition of the person isn't growing, that causes a repulsion of those practices are attracted and then performed. Right?
Thank you, AJ. This is so profound.
Now, how is the Spirit with you feeling? He's gone, hasn't he? He's been with you a long time and he's just gone. Yeah. And the reason why is because he's saying the penny's dropping with you, and he can see the penny dropping with you, and he can see that he's not going to be able to influence you to do this anymore, and he'll just find another person he can do it with. He wasn't interested in you in any other way than to help you have sexual activity so that he could fulfill his own desires.
I need to say something about that because I've been monogam since 7 years now.
Yeah.
But he must have been still somewhere.
Still with you.
Still, because I had that for quite a while now, no sex.
Yep. So he's been trying to influence you back into that.
I felt also, no, I don't want to, my partner suffered a little bit the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But there was something within me was, no.
And you will find, what you'll probably find now is you'll work through this issue and you'll feel like having sex again, because at the soul level you're already, yeah. That's great. You already knew that something was wrong here, and that's why you withdrew from it a bit. So connect back with yourself when you're making love. Don't get out of body. Don't do those out of body things that you were taught to do when you're doing it. And you'll find that it'll be more of a real experience, and there might be emotions you need to work your way through. The problem is that a lot of spiritual practices on earth are designed by spirits to help you be more connected to them so that they can use you more. And so you need to be careful of that. They are just as influential, these spirits, and remember, every influence on you is emotional. Right? Everything's.